Good Packer Nation Monday morning, everybody. I know what's going to come across the stream very, very quickly. Packers drop another one. I titled the show, I was going to use a different title, but I titled the show, "If the Packers lay another egg against Washington, I'll shave my head." Oh, wait. Because they did. If you're getting on, let me know who you are, where you're coming at me from, and feel free to emoji your feelings right now. We're going to talk all about it. We're not going to shy away from it. Sean is here. Jerry is here. Ship is sinking. We're going to talk a lot about that, as a matter of fact. To try to make it a little bit fun, actually. I've got a little game we're going to play in place of Love It or Leave It, because there's nothing to love at this point. Nancy is here. Mark and Tom and Lyle and Tim, good to see all you guys. I see the emojis coming. Yep, this is every Monday, it's become the ritual on Mondays to let it all out. Just emoji me your thoughts. And Nancy says, crying from Iowa. I'm sorry, Nancy. I wish we had better news. And Marcus is making a good point, and then we were talking about this last night, and you guys can emoji your response to this one. What has happened to Micah Hyde at this point? My gosh. Nicholas and Jerry and Jim are here. Jose says, what up? Johnny is back, says good morning. It's a rough Monday for you guys. I'm sorry about it. I would love to have a green and gold magic wand that I could wave over this situation. We unfortunately are not in that situation. That is not the way it's going to roll for our Packers team. And so therefore for us vicariously, we all get to have yet another crappy Monday. And guess what? We play Monday night next week. So Monica says sad and mad. Jose says horrible. Victor says heartless, which I do think is a fairly accurate, actually, description of our team. Let it all out. Just let it all out. And while we do that, I have to own up to my prediction, which was 31-28 Packers. I thought that the offense was going to turn it on a little bit, be okay, be enough to break that 30 mark. I expected the defense to do enough to hold Washington. My comment was, I can't see this defense stopping anybody, especially Washington, from scoring points. I thought bringing Matthews back might inject a little bit of energy. Early on, we saw that, but then Matthews wasn't even on the field for half the game. Joshua says football genocide, but I'm not sure. I want to really parse out what that might mean at this point. Michael is here. Mike is here. So I know we're seeing it start already. Who needs to get the axe? But I'm going to make a comment before you guys all start saying that there's a more important and more primary question we have to ask ourselves out there. Because I know what's going to roll up on the screen. It's going to say, and you're already probably here, it's going to say fire McCarthy. It's going to say Ted Thompson obviously has to go. McCarthy obviously has to go. It's going to say Dom Capers obviously has to go. It's going to say we need to get some good players. That's what's going to roll across the screen right now. And there it is. We got hashtags going, the whole thing. And that's not the question. The real question for Packer Nation and for the very top, change takes place from the top down, generally speaking. You can go out there, and there are some exceptions that push that rule to some extent in history. But generally speaking, change takes place from the top down. The priority question for Packer Nation now, you got the Fire TT hashtag going, but if you all could just take your thumbs off the button for a second and listen to what's really important, I will let you know what's important. Here's what's important for Packer Nation. It's not who has to go. That's the obvious. That's not the leader's response. The leader's response right now, the leadership of this organization is, do we have the balls to make change in this organization to start with? That's the primary question. I guarantee you won't hear it on any talk shows. I said this to my cousin up in Madison. I said, you won't hear anybody asking this question out there. But the primary question is, and this goes directly to Mark Murphy, does Murphy have the balls to get rid of, I think I described it to my buddy Rick, who's probably out there, to give Ted Thompson the Donald Trump? Is Murphy the kind of guy that can start this change from the top down and get this ship righted? Now, ask you now, think about that for a second right now. Do you really think? This is the biggest question we've got to answer right now, and I'm concerned deeply about it because I'm not sure he is. I'm wearing black. Here's part of the reason I'm wearing black today, right? Because this change, to be honest, one of the biggest problems we have, I know we have injuries, but through the years, through the Ted Thompson era, we have continued to do virtually nothing but draft and develop. And Avery says, no way he fires anybody. This is a huge question. This is the question that requires picketing in the streets, perhaps. And Linda said, no, we don't have it. I mean, for crying out loud, you look at Ted Thompson, is he anything more than a yes man? I mean, to be honest. I commented to Rick, I said, I don't think Mark Murphy is going to have the balls to look dead-eye Ted in the eye and say, you fired. You fired. I think he is more interested right now in making sure he's in line for the new Titletown district to go sledding on the sliding hill they've got over top of the building or whatever right now. Josh says I'm wearing black as I give my eulogy. I promise I'm gonna make it fun for you guys. I hope. Kathy's saying, what happened to my team? Never seen a defense this shallow in Green Bay. And remember, Shane's comment, never seen a defense this shallow in Green Bay. Remember, guys, think back. This is the saddest. I see some sad faces rolling up. You can roll up a sad face if you remember just how excited we were to have Randall, Rollins, Gunter back as second-year players expected to take a leap, the biggest leap. We thought our cornerback, our defensive backfield was a strength in terms of not just starting player, but also depth. Do you remember that? Anybody sad about that out there? Our defensive interior is more open wide and gutted out than my cousin Trent Thayer's 5-point buck that he got on opening day. Trent Thayer, the guy who supplied us from Thayer's Jewelers in Boston, go there, buy stuff, please. It's Christmas time. You know you could use it. Provided the precious for our trophy. He got himself a 5-point buck. This morning, I couldn't help but think, he sent me some pictures, and I hope that it isn't a horrible image to you, because for me, it's just an image of life. It's a circle of life kind of thing, but here's the circle of life. Our defensive interior is more gutted than the white-tailed deer that were harvested in Wisconsin and all across the country this past weekend, for whoever had opening weekend. There are so many analogies, so many tired cliches. You saw one earlier on when I posted live in 45. I said, what is the definition of insanity? Some of you guys know. Kathy says, maybe shave the beard. I may have to. It's no shave November for me. It's starting to get, it's past the annoying stage to some extent, but I'm not a big fan. I'm a fan of how they look, but not necessarily how they feel. All right. Definition of insanity, it's this age-old, just the most tired cliche ever, but it's there for a reason. Because the definition of insanity has been said, it's doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Does anybody think that this is kind of how we're treating our Packer team right now? That status quo is expected? I know, and part of the problem is, it's a risky business. Change is a risky business. So I have been one that I'm not, and I know this because I've had to deal with this. Making change on the turn of a dime is difficult, and it's also dangerous. So I haven't been I'm never going to be a jump ship kind of guy. You need to think it through. You need to ask the right questions. The first question for Packer Nation, like I said, is, do we have the balls to do what is necessary, whatever that may be? And I'm not sure we do. And then after that, we have to realize that what we are doing is not getting the job done. So then the change question comes in. Who has to get the axe? And the following question to that immediately becomes, because you have to factor it in ahead of time, Who can we replace them with? Are there people out there that can we improve it? If you can't improve it, then you got to look elsewhere for your priorities, and then work down the road, right? There is so much wrong right now, and it doesn't even have to do with, because change is the obvious necessity at this point for just about everybody. And finally, Jerry is saying relax his bull. I don't know if somebody had the unmitigated stupidity to put that on my feed again. If they did, I apologize, because that is just the dumbest. It is even more tired than the tired cliche that insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting. At least that one has some merit, and it fits this situation. And we've got suggestions rolling across, and all of them are good ones. But the number one question we all have to wonder about, and we have to be most concerned about, is do we have the balls to cut who we need to cut? And I am concerned about that. Now, here's the other side of it. And again, I'll say this. Whoever, if we have the balls to make a choice, make a decision. If Murphy can look Ted in the eye and say, listen, we're not getting it done. Draft and develop as a be-all, end-all. It's a good basis, but we've got to do more. We have to bring in players at some point. If we're willing to do that, here's the problem we're going to run into. I guarantee it. Because there's going to be a rubber band effect. And you look at everything, and now here's what you will hear on every single talk show in the nation that has to do with Green Bay Packer Nation. You will hear everybody saying how we have to go out and get more free agents. This phrase, go out, get more free agents, that will be thrown around from one end of the country to the next. And again, that could just as easily make it worse as it could make it better. Because here's the problem. This is going to be the tired cliche show, I'm afraid. Because here's another one for you. Don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry. And this is what's going to happen. We're going to go out there. If we have the chutzpah to ditch Ted, make some changes from the top down, whoever that may be. In my opinion, I think we're better off getting rid of Ted Thompson. I think McCarthy gets one more chance. I think we can get a defensive coordinator. Our defense is decimated by injuries, but I think we need to shake up the coaching staff a bit too. I like the stability that McCarthy brings as a manager, a team manager, but a new play caller would help us. But whatever the change may be, here's what's going to happen is whoever takes the position of general manager is going to they are going to be like someone grocery shopping when they're starving. They're going to be desperate. They're going to be looking and could very easily make just as horrible a move with some kind of, it's in this day and age, there are many less Reggie White signings than there are like Ndamukong Suh signings. Look at the teams that spent $100 million on players in the last 5 years. Very few of them that pan out. So it's we've got a real crisis on our hands. And I know a lot of people don't like the predictability of the offense. I understand that. I can see it. I've been down on McCarthy, not just to me, and I'll say it one more time. I think McCarthy has called enough of the right plays in this season for us to win a cuss of a lot more games. And we've got Wolf time, and that's what Elliot is going to be under pressure just to go buy somebody. And I promise you wait, because I'll come back. I remember what I say. I'll come back and I will make the comment because Elliot's going to be under so much pressure. He's going to go out and we're very easily could end up in a worse situation because we're going to spend $100+ million on some player who doesn't pan out. And that's why, if you want to mark my words that we are in a real situation here. Because one of the things that is very hard, it's very hard to develop in the NFL is any sense of stability. And that's the one thing that we have had is a sense of stability. Going to the playoffs for 7 years straight. However, we'll talk about it because I think our percentage, historically, our probability of getting to the playoffs now went down to 6%. And we know the percentage in the NFC North the way it is this year, because, stats aren't predictive as far as I'm concerned. But in the NFC North, we are far from out of it. But we all also know this team can't win a game. They just can't go win a game. The coaching staff, you can see it in the coaching staff. And now, did anybody else out there, you can sad face this, you can heart it, whatever you want to do, but did anybody else out there see Aaron Rodgers' post-game interview? I mean, he didn't even have the strength to be angry about it anymore. Sad face, angry face, give him a heart, whatever it is, because the quarterback of this team knows that there's no way they can win a game anymore. I mean, they just can't do it. And he finally gets out and says what I've been saying all along. The question is, when are we going to play 4 quarters of football in 3 phases of the game? If you can't do that, that doesn't mean you have to be dominant in 4 quarters of football in 3 phases of the game, but you got to at least show up. Am I right? Danielle says he caved. I think you're referring to probably Aaron Rodgers with the conference. I mean, and Rodgers had a decent game to some extent. He had a good game as long as the wind was with him, right? I mean, we stall out for 3 and out for the first 3 series of the game. It was a cluster cuss, just like all the other ones. And then they come back, and they actually, in the end, had a halfway decent game. But now, like we're seeing, the defense is gutted like a winter whitetail in Wisconsin. Holy smokes, folks. Oh, and Yolanda says, can't blame Rodgers on this one. And no, I don't. Again, he hooked up with Cook. Of course, we'll talk about that. I'm not gonna go into Cook, because I think Cook is one of the guys that, to me, at least gets a thumbs up for showing up, And Rodgers, I thought, after the 3 and outs, once, as long as he was playing into the wind, he was okay. Or, with the wind, not into the wind. And of course, now we have mentioned too, now Goodson goes out with what looks like just a really bad knee injury, I think. Oh, man. So you end up on the horns of a dilemma, because stability is hard to come by, but change, I think, is necessary, right? Anybody feel me on that? That part of your concern is not just that it's so easy, because honestly, if you're going to be honest with yourself, there is no just easy plug and play answer to what's going on. If you look at it from all angles, change is necessary, but we are at a critical point, I think, that could plunge us back to the 1950s, late 40s and 50s, or the 80s, which most of us know is not a good time in Packer history. And Eva says change is good, but remember, change, whether good, and you can quote me on this if you want, because it's an absolute scientific fact, and I know a little bit about this stuff. Change, good or bad, is a stress on an organization, on people of the organization. It is a stress. So again, I know how easy it is. We're just going to fire Ted. It's obvious. We just have to fire Ted because that'll be the solution to the problem. No, we just have to fire McCarthy. It's obvious. His play calling is tired. All we have to do is get rid of him. It's going to be super easy. It's not. All we have to do is get rid of Dom because our defense is a sieve. Well, we can't even have enough players available to put a defense together. We're going to be calling up Bayside East players play defense for us at some point. So we are at a critical juncture. Mark my words. All right, let's play a game. How does that sound? So I think that's a better idea than pissing and moaning this morning. Because on Mondays, right, we always play Love It or Leave It. This was fun at first. Because what I tried to do is put Packer Nation on the horns of a dilemma with some kind of a love it or leave it that you could kind of go either way with. Unfortunately, what Love It or Leave It transmogrified into, that's not really a word, but I'm going to pretend it is one, was just leave it or leave it, right? So now we're going to do something a little bit different. And we're going to use the same emojis. Well, not the same emojis. You thumbs up for the first response if you go with the first one. You hit the angry face if you go with the second one. In this game today, the thumbs up and the angry face, they're not like, they don't have anything to do with the emotion. They're just which answer do you go with. If you go with the first one, you thumbs up. If you go with the second one, you hit the angry face, okay? All right, so let's do this. Okay, I had to write these down. I did this like really last minute because I just came up with the idea. So, all right, forgive me. But, so instead of love it or leave it, here's a few things, just a few questions. You choose. Number 1 is the thumbs up. Number 2 is the angry face. And we've got the angry faces coming already. Probably because I don't know what I'm doing with this game. All right, which is more done? Which is more done? Thanksgiving turkey or the Packers season, angry face? Which is more done? Which is more stick a fork in it? The Packers season, the Thanksgiving turkey, that's the thumbs up, or the Packers season, angry face? Which is more done? I was going to phrase that a little differently. I was going to say, which is more done? The stuffing that Grandma used to put inside the body cavity of the Thanksgiving turkey? Because I thought that was closer, because that never gets done. It's disgusting. It's a bacteria bath in there, right? But I decided to just go with the turkey. Because none of you, it's not Thanksgiving yet, so your turkey isn't done anyway. But the Packers. All right, folks. Sometimes it's cathartic to just let this out, right? All right, well, okay, here's the next one, all right? Which went over better? The Packers defense or a pregnant pole vaulter, okay? Which went over? Which is going over better right now in Packer Nation? The Packers defense or angry face, a pregnant pole vaulter? It's all you can do. It's all you can do, right? I got a smiley face or two out of it, right? I'm trying to make you guys feel better. All right, here's some more. Which is more tired? Okay? Aunt Rita, who stayed up past her bedtime and watched the Packer game, and then out of sorrow drank a bottle and a half of red wine. Or the Packers offense, which is more tired? Aunt Rita, bottle and a half of wine, sitting in the lazy boy, fell asleep after the game. Or the Packers, Mike McCarthy-led offense right now? Thumbs up for the first one. Angry face for the Packers offense. And you can, if you're having a little fun with this, you can give me a little happy face too, because listen, I'm half Irish, and this is what we have to do. Like, and you guys who have a little Irish blood, and you know that whatever happens, you just have to turn around and try to make it funny, because and this is perfect for our season right now. All right, last but not least, and this I promised we were going to talk about this a little, so I'll probably go into it. Which is faster, more nimble, and more powerful? Okay? Jared Cook or Josh Norman's right hook? Which is faster, nimble, more powerful, and effective? And this is a little bit of a tricky one. Jared Cook or Josh Norman's right hook? Yeah. Because, and again, we've had people comment, don't blame Aaron Rodgers for this one, and I'm not, it was rough. It was a rough start. And Jared Cook, who was it? I know somebody was out there, because I said I thought Jared Cook could go out there and be a little bit of a difference maker, but there was a bold prediction out there. I see one coming, Tom. My feed froze for a second. I see one coming across from my buddy Tom. So on the fly, I'm going to make up one more new love it or leave it. Which is more electric? The squirrel that we saw on the field a few weeks ago, or the Packers running game right now? Which is more electric and exciting? Squirrel or the Packers running game? So thanks for the comment, Tom. And we got some friends of the squirrel out there. You know what? I'm feeling right now on a Monday, a little love for a furry creature. That squirrel is the most exciting thing that the Packers have put on the field in a long time. And you can heart that squirrel right now if you feel me. And Nancy's got the squirrel up there. I always spell it, all right, here's the deal. Maybe this is funny to you. It's just funny to me. Like, it's funny to me as a former, like, wannabe linguist that I think it's funny to spell things wrong because everybody gets so pissed about it, number one. All the grammar Nazis that don't know where the English language came from in the first place. But I always spell it S-K-W-U-R-L, squirrel. It just puts a smile on my face. So if it puts a smile on your face, you can put squirrel up on the feed right now. Oh, Ryan is saying no Barkley jokes. Oh my gosh. Classic oversight. Thank you. And if I think of one, okay, I've got one. All right, which is more of a sieve? Thumbs up for the colander Grandma uses to drain her pasta for Thanksgiving dinner, or angry face, Don Barkley. Which is more of a sieve? The strainer that my Italian grandma uses to strain the pasta for Thanksgiving dinner, because I don't know really where pasta fits into Thanksgiving dinner, okay? So I know soup does, but anyway. Or angry face, Don Barkley on the offensive line of the Green Bay Packers. Nice one. Man, you guys are awesome. This is great. I just love being able to respond to your comments because, frankly, it made my day a little brighter. We got a nice blue sky. I'm trying to see things on the bright side, trying to bring a little laughter into your life, if nothing else. I can't bring you all liquor. So, so which is more of a sieve? The colander that Grandma uses to strain the pasta, or Don Barkley? Virginia is saying, I wanted to get my hands around Virginia. Okay, heart Virginia right now if you wanted to choke slam Don Barkley in this game last night. You can heart my friend Virginia out there. You can heart her right now if you too wanted to choke slam Don Barkley. That could be its own segment all by itself. And I think I'm just going to do it, guys. I don't know what else to do. Okay, it's heart the person you want to choke slam time, all right? Who wants, and I'm going to try to make this even-handed to some extent, okay? Who wants to choke slam Josh Norman this morning? Because frankly, I mean, we were tearing him a new one. And then he basically somehow finds a way. We were making him look bad. Finds a way to make the play of the game. Now turn it around. We're finally driving. We still have an outside chance. So heart if you want to choke slam Josh Norman. All right? And I guess I need to put the disclaimer in here. Please don't actually choke slam anyone. This is, we're emojiing. We're getting it all out, right? Oh, Brandon's got a good one. All right, heart if you want to choke slam Dom Capers right now. Oh gosh, this show is taking a turn. But I'm feeling better, all right? I'm feeling better. You can heart me too if you're feeling better right now. But heart if you want to choke slam Dom Capers. Heart me right now if you we got to be honest, right? Anytime we're pointing the fingers, remember what Mama used to say? Heart if you want to choke slam yourself for watching the game again when you knew exactly how it was going to play out. You knew this is a broken record. You knew it. Heart if you just want to choke slam yourself because you stayed up all night. Now you're red-eyed in the morning. Some of you are hungover. Don't think I don't know. Heart me right now if you want to choke slam yourself for staying up and watching it again. And and my son came in and he was basically saying the same thing as I want to see. And he was like making it's crazy. There is so much response. All right. And my son was saying the exact same thing. And he was like making his exit strategy for the game. Like, when or if this happens, and it was more like when, it was that first class conditional if, which means since this is going to happen, I will exit when. So choke slam yourself right now. I mean, I'm doing it right here. No, the fact of the matter is I'm going to watch the team no matter what. I mean, it was painful. All right, Arturo, here it is, my friend. Warm up your thumb. Choke slam, or heart me if you want to choke slam Ted Thompson right now. Kathy says, and then I watched The Walking Dead. So did it feel like kind of 2 episodes of the same show? I mean, honestly, all right? I love that. Everybody put a little laughter, put a little happy face in the middle of your choke slam comments if you like Kathy's comment. You watched the Walking Dead afterwards, and probably you didn't realize that the game was over. So let's give a little love for Kathy, a little laughter for Kathy. Because you stayed up after the Packer game and watched The Walking Dead and didn't realize that the game had ended. Because there were still some just gangrene guys wandering around with their arms out and no brains. Choke slam, hit the heart button if you want to, oh man, there's so many. There's just so many. If you want to choke slam McCarthy right now, just hit the heart button. I'm not talking about the draft. I'm not going to talk about the draft. We've got to get to the point where our draft is going to make a difference because, we saw some good things out of Kenny Clark. And then we saw, of course, Daniels got on a roll, so we had to put him on the sideline. That's the way our rotation helps us right now. We put our players that are playing well on the sideline right when they get hot. It's the same thing on offense. We do the same thing with the running backs, except now we just don't have any. He's a big boy. It might be hard to choke slam him. Yeah. Packer Nation. Yeah, we're at a fork in the road, are we not? I took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. I think we're at that point, right? I think we have to take the road less traveled right now. I don't think we can afford to be conservative. I don't think we can afford to rest in our laurels and to think, maybe it's just the injuries. I think we've got to. Bruce is commenting Rodgers is the running back, and there's like 3 exclamation points, and I would almost expect a few like question marks too, because you can just feel it come through the screen. Just this, are you kidding me? Eva says it feels pretty helpless. Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, it's a very true statement, and the maxim has been around for way too long because it's true. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Now, here's the thing that bothers me almost more than anything else about this situation. Not only did we go out on the field and do the same cluster cussing thing that we've been doing for the entire season, basically. We just got away with it a few times against the bad teams. But look at you don't even have to see Mike McCarthy's post-game press conference to know exactly what he's going to say. He's going to come in, he's going to say it was a tough loss, he's going to mention the injuries, he's going to say, Aaron Rodgers did an admirable job, and he's going to say, here's what he's going to say every single time. We know exactly what the situation we've put ourselves in, and we know exactly what we've got to do and what we're up against. You can write it down. He could just... Literally, we could have a Mike McCarthy marionette go out there and do the press conferences for him at this point. Yeah, we know. Tough loss. Injuries? Yeah, we had a few injuries. I don't have anything to tell you on that. But Aaron Rodgers played, a good game. But we just didn't do enough. But we know what's in front of us. We know what we've got to do. Well, then do it, for crying out loud. I mean, at least on offense, we're getting some guys back. Do it. I talked to my buddy Rick, and and he's not happy with how the defense played any more than anybody else is, but he said at least they've got massive injuries and lost another guy in this game. I mean, for crying out loud, the only guy that played offense was Aaron Rodgers and Jared Cook. And Jared Cook is responsible for the fumble that basically finished us. And, you know, because I told you this was going to be the tired cliche show, there's another one. We talked about it a little bit ago, if you caught my little game. Stick a fork in it. It's done. This season, we don't even need a fork. Is it just me, or do we not even need a fork? There isn't any probing that needs to happen at this point. Maybe you can put a heart up if you want to choke slam me for being such a negative Nancy, but I think I'm being realistic, to be honest. I mean, I really think I'm being realistic. I'm a positive dude. Like, I will take just about any situation, and I will find the good in it. And I'll find it in this one, too. Because, again, I mean, Aaron Rodgers and our offense, other than still not being able to play 4 quarters of football, and Aaron Rodgers mentioned that, you know, they've started to take a turn for the better. But giving up a 40-burger every time you go on the field is not, nobody's going to overcome that. And then making the one turnover, we finally had a game where we weren't putting the ball on the ground like 5 times. And what happens? But, yeah, this was a tough one. Obviously, it doesn't get any easier. We talked about that. We know this Packer team's got to go. You know, had they been able to find a way to eke out a win on the road against Washington, then you got an Eagles game. The Eagles, you know, somewhat vulnerable, but again, we got to play away. It's not a game that a lot of people are now, you know, I mean, you can't predict, I don't think, the Packers to win this one. I mean, I want, for one last time, because I did think the offense was trending. I thought we'd break 30. However, you know, my big mistake was I really thought the defense, I thought Daniel was going to bounce back. He, to some extent, did. But they pulled him every time they pull him. And I know it's because it ends up being a passing down, and then they pull him for the passing down, and they hope to get a sack. Nick Barnett, Matthews made a difference right off the bat. Nick Perry, not Barnett, gets his sack. They get a little bit going. They 3-and-out him first, and then our offense stalls for the whole first quarter. And it's a season that, you know, and again, I'll say this again, there's no way I'm ever going to get on here and say play for a draft pick or anything like that. You won't hear me say it because I think that is loser cuss mentality. I just won't do it. And frankly, I think anybody who does should find a loser team, because that's, our team may lose, but our team is greater than the 2016 Packers. Our organization is greater than the abysmal situation that we've got going right now. It's so myopic to think that way. And I just won't do it. I mean, even if it was the best long-term strategy, I would not do it. I refuse to do it. Arturo is mentioning, and yeah, I mean, this is one I was going to say, you know, put a heart up if you want to choke slam the injury list. Like, but I didn't know how to do it, Arturo, so I didn't say that one. But seriously, guys, I mean, do you then put a heart up to choke slam the strength and conditioning? Because frankly, if you look at, these are leverage injuries. And when you get leverage injuries, there is not, you can be as strong as you possibly can be. I know this firsthand. Because there's one thing. One thing I am not is a big dude, but I am, from my waist down, pound for pound, as strong as anybody you will ever see. Did that help me when my knee straightened and I got hit at the same time from behind? Not one bit. It's a leverage injury. I had a strong, I seriously I literally won the state powerlifting competition in my weight class. There is nothing that your quads are going to do when you get an awkward injury like that, and your ACL is going to go. It's just crazy. And it drives me nuts. So, I mean, you know, I wish it was an easy solution to just say, let's choke slam the strength and conditioning. Let's clean house again. We've already done it. And we saw no change. I think, actually, I know we are more likely to see the injuries going away if we find some religious cult that can do some kind of a ceremony get rid of the curse. That will do more for our injury situation than changing strength and conditioning coaches. I don't know. And Tom Adams saying that knee fold was hurt. Yeah, tell me about it. I'll tell you what those kind of injuries do, because here's what those kind, and I mention this from time to time. Maybe I mention it too much, but this because of these knee, it's because the injuries keep happening that it keeps coming up. My knee was the size of my quad by the time I got to the locker room. So that's what kind of knee injury these bad ones do. But I want to choke slam something, but I just want to choke slam the injury list, because it's like just some overlord of the NFL is against us and just refuses to let us get or stay even remotely healthy. I mean, every team has its injuries. I understand that, but are you kidding me? Really? I mean, year in and year out. Double digits to dozens of players, starters. Wow. So yeah, I agree. We've had way too many seasons of losing way too many key players. And you look back on it. But again, the next thing that comes to your mind immediately is 2010, right? And so this is different than 2010 because, we had fight then. We don't have any fight in this team right now, is my feeling. And I know, and this was brought up this week, how Aaron Rodgers, and I'm sure the coaching staff, just absolutely hates it when guys like me in particular, because I'm outspoken about it probably, but when guys get on and pretend like they know what they're thinking, but for crying out loud, body language is like 80% of your message, your communication, and it doesn't take a genius. I know a little bit about body language. I've studied it a little bit. I'm no expert, but it don't take no expert to see Aaron Rodgers up at that podium. He can't even look up. This is classic. And actually, well, that's for a different topic. If you want to bring yourself out of a bad situation, you're feeling bad, it works in reverse. This might be the most interesting because the Packers team is really blasé right now. But if you lose a game, everybody knows this. When a player loses a game, what happens to their head goes down. What happens to their shoulders? They get slumped. It's called the turtle shut. It's called the turtle posture. When you win, when you see a runner run across the finish line and they win, it's head up, arms over their shoulders. So everybody knows that if something good or bad happens to you, your body responds. What a lot of people don't understand necessarily, and this is true, this is proven, is if you put your body into a posture of winning or losing, your body will respond in kind. So if I had one bit of advice, and this will work for all of you guys out there, if you're having a rough day, if you just open your eyes and just look to the sky and say, yeah, your body will feel better. I promise you, it's true. It's crazy, but ask the experts. This isn't my advice. It comes from the experts. So for Aaron Rodgers, man, go find a mirror somewhere. Maybe you feel like you'll look silly. Do it in private if you do, but do it. Get your head up. Get your arms over your shoulder. Smile. Feel better, because if nothing else, I want you to feel better. I don't know if we'll play any better, because frankly, I thought Aaron played a pretty good game. He kind of, it was rough in the first quarter, first three series, and Donald is commenting, we don't see any of these passes over the middle. Nick says Tony Robbins. I recommend The Charisma Myth by Elizabeth Fox Cabane. We'll talk about that same principle. It's an actual physiological fact. But everybody knows the one side of it. Not very many people know the opposite side of it. But very true, and it's actually quite practical. So you're welcome. I hope that at least it makes me feel like I did something for everybody out there. We've got to, and that's why Thomas mentioned it's no wonder Aaron likes the Scotch. And the Scotch is the wrong way to go because alcohol is a depressant. So Aaron, I'm going to give you two bits of advice. The first is get yourself in a victory stance, make yourself feel a little better. And the second is stay away from the Scotch. That's the last thing you need right now. It's going to just make you feel worse. Don't be the whiskey drinker. All right. Oh my goodness. Lana says, call them the Green Bay Browns. Thank you for at least putting a smiley face, because there's a little truth in all humor, and holy smokes, that's like sarcastically scary. And Jacob, I think, is like a lot of you out there. You can heart it right now if talking about next year just isn't good enough right now. It's just not good enough. We've got to do something. And here's what you do. Like, okay, because we talked about this. And this is another part of the reason that virtually you'll rarely, we'll see, this team is making me wonder, but you'll rarely hear me calling for coaches to get fired in the middle of the year. Partly because, like, you don't go buy your groceries when you're hungry. You don't wait till your car breaks down to go to the dealership. But we need to be looking right now for the best way to make the correct changes. We need to start right now. But I'm not a big one on let's hack people in the middle of the season, because frankly, it's not going to change the outcome of the season. I don't think. And you may disagree with me on that, but I do think I think if I was sitting in the meeting room, I would be making the pitch that we need to be starting to think about what changes need to be made. We need to be starting to identify where the problem really lies and who it lies with. If it's personnel, I think it goes all the way up to the top. If it's the culture, then we're talking head coach. Now, again, there's obviously a combination of these things. Could be a factor, right? We need to be looking right now, and that's Mark Murphy's job. And so I'm calling on Murphy. I'm not sure. Is this a guy that they brought in to be more than just a yes man at this point? But we need to be thinking long and hard and planning right now. Who might be available at the end of the year, and who might be frankly awesome, because there are a lot of things. I mean, if it goes to Mike McCarthy, there are a lot of ways in which he manages a team the way a modern day NFL head coach needs to do, that a lot of head coaches. We saw how Mike Singletary did when he brought the iron fist to the 49ers. He didn't even have a job in a couple years. So it's a difficult tightrope to walk right now. But all your guys' ideas that have been coming across, these need to all be on a list somewhere, right? We need to be weighing some pros and cons. And of course, the name Elliot Wolf comes to mind immediately if Mark Murphy has the chutzpah to can Ted Thompson. And Phil, you are killing me, man. You guys see it. Phil's like, so Brett Good isn't the answer on defense? Jeez, man. Oh, just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And David says, and it's all caps, time to usher in the Elliot Wolf era. And that's, his name should be on the list. Okay? Anyone who is leading this organization should absolutely, I agree, have his name on the list. But that's all at this stage, and you get more names on that list. I don't care what the reactions are out there. You do not just have one name on this list at this time. And we need to be very serious to turn over every rock and every stone and not assume that just because a guy has the last name Wolf and he knows the business that he's the answer. And I'll say this to anybody at any level in the organization, because I know they'll agree. If you've been a leader, you've gotten to that point in an organization, you already know this is the case. Elliot Wolf's name definitely, absolutely needs to be right, the first one on that list. Keep the names a-coming. Work it through. This is how you solve problems. Apollo 13. We're not going to solve problems by guessing. And Elliot Wolf is way more than a guess. I really like him, and I would definitely be leaning in that direction. But you can't start by leaning. You just put the names on the list, figure out your criteria, start working through it. We need to turn over every rock that's out there to get the right guys to right the ship. All right. Well, what can I say? I mean, the Packers lose another one. And that's part of the problem is it's hard to say anything more than Mike McCarthy says because, yeah, this team suffered another injury. Yes, this team's defense did poorly. Yes, Aaron Rodgers did a decent job. Yes, we fumbled at the wrong time. And yes, we know what we're up against. I'm not inclined to talk about what we're up against. I'm inclined to talk about what we're just up. We're up a creek without a paddle. It's what I'm inclined. So we've got all the suggestions rolling in. I hope that some committee out there is putting all of the names you guys are suggesting on a list and starting to get serious. But it's going to be a difficult last half of the season. I think we all realize, and I think the expectations, again, if you look at the personnel grouping, expectations were high at the beginning of the year. We were a draft and develop team, so do not, and I've said this in the past, I think we're one superstar short. I think there's one sort of key guy that we still need, and I think it's a lockdown corner or an inside linebacker that's an absolute stud. If this team had a Luke Kuechly on it, not in his current concussion protocol, but if we had a player like that could stay healthy, and Kuechly has basically been on the field almost all the time, we would have probably 3 more Super Bowls, depending on how long they've played. And Aaron Rodgers they'd be giving Aaron Rodgers his gold jacket before he even retired, at this point. But we're not there. And Tom says a real running back. Sean's asking if I think we can still make the playoffs. Playoffs? You're talking about playoffs? Playoffs. Our probability for I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. I believe it. I believe if I'm remembering right. So, if I'm wrong quoting it, I don't think it really I don't think the number is what matters. But our probability for reaching the playoffs went to 6% from 12 by losing these last 2 games. So, and I see a lot of happy faces or funny faces. So, no, we're just talking about where do we go from here, I think, at this point. Is this a team that can find, can grit it out and kind of trend upward a little bit, or is this a team that just absolutely implodes? I think it's extremely, and again, I was talking to my buddy Rick this morning, and he mentioned how we had the weakest schedule in the NFL, and I've said from the beginning, I never saw this as a weak schedule. I still don't. I don't buy the line that your winning percentage from a year ago determines what type of opponent you are for any given year. I don't buy that. Not in the game of football. That might work. That might work in machining. That might work in certain Newtonian physics situations. But there's more there's so much going on a football team. I don't buy that stat from the beginning. You heard me say it numerous times that this season was going to be difficult for numerous reasons. Not just the fact that I thought the team's winning percent, I thought teams were better than their winning percentages. 9 out of 10 of them. 9 out of 10 as a percentage. And I also thought that the way the schedule laid out was going to be absolutely grueling. Which is why I didn't complain when we dropped the game to the Vikings early, and part of the reason we did it is because our veterans had not even hardly got on the field because McCarthy held them out during the preseason. Well, he did that because he was hoping to keep them healthy. And then look at this again. This is 2 years in a row with kind of a perfect storm. I mean, what can you do when you don't even have a running back that has played the game with your team? And so it's been 2 years, I think, of perfect storms. Last year was and at the same time, I'm going to wait for the feed. At the same time, McCarthy gave up play calling duties, and our offense just absolutely fell apart. And we were injured again. So from the beginning, I did not think this was going to be easy. But from the beginning, the expectations were still pretty high because we had a Packer team that we believed in. You look at the personnel that we had, we no longer have 50% of them available to us. We probably could start a Canadian Football League just with our injured reserve list right now. So it's been tough. It's been real tough. And I expected it to be difficult, but I expected many more wins. But reality has a way of setting in, does it not? So, all right, I need to close the show, and I'm going to do it, I guess, basically by talking about a couple of things. One is, whatever happens, okay? And we know how tough it's going to be for this team to get wins, right, going forward. It's not going to be easy. Whatever happens, I hope, this is what I hope. The one thing that I hope to see is that this team finds a way to have heart. Like, I don't expect us to win anymore. I mean, if we see some guy, I think, the cream rises to the top in situations like this. And I think Aaron Rodgers and Jared Cook showed, of course, Jared Cook was well rested as well. Randall Cobb had a nice play in there. Devontae Adams had a play or two, looked like he could really have made a difference. And Jordy Nelson with the touchdown, the controversial touchdown that's now trending on Facebook. If this team just goes out and shows some life, I think it's down to the point where individual players are just going to show life. But this is the time where all of the culling out is going to happen, because they're going to show themselves to be players who have heart. I'd rather see them make mistakes with heart than go out there and try to be gap sound on defense or execute perfectly on offense with no heart whatsoever. Because frankly, I think our execution on offense in particular, we execute better when we have a little fun and have a little heart. And I think Valerie, you can see, come across the comment stream making about the same comment, And of course, Donald, I am giving you the captain obvious right now, because we need to stop the points on defense. And frankly, I'd rather see a team. And this goes maybe to the Mike Daniels, which I thought was a questionable roughing the passer call, personal foul on him. I would rather see him play with heart, jack up the quarterback, and maybe get called because he's a shade late, and play with heart. Because, yes, they're going to drop a 40, but their teams are going to drop a 40 burger on us anyway at this point. So I would rather see them play with heart and have a chance to really jack up a quarterback, really rattle him, maybe get an errant pass that's then picked off, because that stops the points. That's what we've been living on as a defense for a long time. And we saw it go away. It just went away. Part of it is because we just can't put a defensive backfield together anymore. And now in this game, Micah Hyde, one of my favorites, just kind of fell apart. I hate to say it. But if this team plays with heart, they're always my team, and I'm always gonna have a heart for the Green Bay Packers. I'm always gonna give them my heart. I don't know. It feels like it should be like freaking Valentine's Day or something. Jeez. But you want to see that reciprocated, and this is part to me of the culture of the Green Bay Packers, is that everything is just gonna be coldly analytical, and there's more to football than cold analysis. And I think that is one key element that we are missing, which goes back to who's on the list and who should be on a list for the future of our team. That includes players and coaching staff and to the top brass. Because if there was one characterization, I think, that hardly anyone could doubt about Ted Thompson would be and I'm again trying to be as coldly analytical and non-opinionated as I can possibly be. If I step back and I said the description of Ted Thompson was coldly analytical, it has a lot of positive to it, but it's just not the whole picture of what we need as a team. So Jacob's asking, why didn't Michael play? He probably wasn't ready, and we had to bring Bradford up, and we needed him again too. I expect we'll see him. I expect it is too late to matter. Here's one of the things, moving forward that I think could be a positive. I do think Christian Michael could be a nice pickup down the road, because remember, we have the Eddie Lacy situation, quote unquote, in front of us, right? Contract year, injured, was playing well, was playing dominant football. Let's be honest. Eddie Lacy was the best offensive player for a stretch there. In the Cowboys game, he was our best offensive player, period, bar none, Mic drop, end of story. And now we've got the situation. Well, I think Kristen Michael, remember, Eddie Lacy drafted number 61 overall. Kristen Michael drafted number 62 overall by the Seahawks, bounced around, has had his issues, was injury prone in college. It's been just, but he knows he's on his last legs in the NFL if he doesn't get his act together. So he could be important going forward. So we'll see. So he's going to need to get in, get some reps. And Kyle wants Lacy back 100%. Boy, Kyle, can you imagine if we end up with a number 61 and 62 overall pick and they both turn out to live up to their... I think Lacy, when he's playing well, is better than his billing in the second round. I mean, I'll put him up against a lot of running backs out there when he's playing well and, when our defense or our offensive line is healthy. But think about the sort of thunder and lightning we could have if he pans out and if, Michael pans out and meets his potential. And of course, Bryce is saying we want to trade him. If you can get some value out of him, gee, how important could that be? Again, if Kristen Michael can become a feature back. John says, get Lynch out of retirement. Maybe we should start, does anybody want to start a Skittles fund to see if we can coax Marshawn Lynch out of retirement at this point? I got a feeling Marshawn Lynch is fat and happy, for lack of a better term, right now. But we'll see. I just want to see this team play with heart. I mean, I'm honest. Give me a heart if that would at least if you feel like it's the only thing you can ask for right now. Yeah, we'd have to buy Lynch out because his, Seahawks still have the rights to him. So there'd have to be some money and some, finagling going on, which I don't really think Ted Thompson is great at. So maybe that, again, points to what changes need. But yeah, I just want to see this team play with some heart. There's, obviously there's so much intellect in the game of football. I've said it's a chess match. I mean, I agree completely. It is a cerebral game. But that's not all it is, And that's what I get the feeling, is for some. You saw Aaron Rodgers got a little fired up. A little fired. But I think we need more out of him. And I hate to put this name out, partly because it's my first name, but Tom Brady, when the team is playing like crap, he doesn't do it on the field all the time that I know of, but he does it on the sidelines. He will call people out. Even when they're playing well, he will go down the line, look guys in the eye, and tell them, we don't quit, I would like to see a little bit of that, to be honest. That would be the heart I'd like to see out of Aaron. But, he showed a little something. All right. And we do have the name Norv Turner being brought up out there. It could be interesting. But, yeah, it's not going to be that interesting an end of the season, I don't think. Now, I got to go up. I'm going to watch the Seahawks paste the Packers. I'm not going to say that. I have to make my predictions. I have to be honest with that, but I'm not going to go there right now. But I can't wait to go to the game. It's going to be awesome. I don't care. It's going to be so much fun. But I hope you guys have a little better Monday. I'm going to close up. If you haven't got your chance to win the ring, our trophy, and get in for loyalty rewards, points, and games with our new game that's coming out. It's coming out next week. Unless something massive happens, it's supposed to come out over Thanksgiving, which is cool. So we're going to start playing games right away. And if the Packers are losing, you can still win. But the deal is you got to go to firefan.com and put in Get the Ring, all one word, as your promo code. That'll tie you in, make sure you're in you'll hear from me and whatnot to get in the league. But that will get you 12 tokens to get started right away and play a little bit for free. And Bryce is asking for the date. This week it's supposed to come out, and they are, because again, this is you are seeing it happen. So when it comes out, there are still going to be probably some things that happen. Stuff is going to happen because this game that you guys, there are hundreds of you out there right now. But go to firefan.com and sign up with the promo code Get the Ring right now, because as soon as it comes out, you can't get the free stuff anymore. You can't get the badge that says I knew about this thing before it even hit Google Play. But here's the deal, guys. The minute this thing hits, there are going to be literally millions of people downloading this. So I am afraid, Like, if you play the game, like I'm gonna, you guys will all get invited by me. I think I haven't even, I still have to see how it all works for my league, et cetera, et cetera. Again, this has never been done before, but there are going to be millions of people clamoring for this game right off the bat, like instantly. So if like your first time playing or something, it slows down or does anything goofy, don't feel like it's broken. It's just, there are so many server setups for so many aspects of how this thing works. And Hector's saying, it's saying I'm already registered. Absolutely, you are in. And I remember your name too, Hector. I'm pretty sure. So, firedom.com. No, firefan.com. Okay. One of the things you guys should know is this is not just going to be football, American football either. So if you have kids or you have kids that like Premier League soccer, it's coming. If you have fans, if you like NBA teams like the Bucks, it's coming, guys. If anybody's a Bucks fan out there right now, because I love the Bucks, they're not a perennial winner or anything, but again, even if your team loses, you can win. So just give me a thumbs up. I'd like to see if there are some Bucks fans out there, because I can almost guarantee you we're going to be able to offer that to you really fast, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I like watching basketball. I used to like playing it, even though I sucked. But yeah, there's some folks out there. There's going to be tons of different things and fun. And this is basically what you are seeing. And you can take pride in this. And if you haven't signed up, do it. Because you can take pride in the fact I think is going to end up being like the Facebook of the sports world. Because there's social elements coming. You're going to be able to smack talk your friends when you get them right. You're going to be able to smack talk me when you win this off my hands. It's just frankly going to be a blast. So it's firefan.com. The promo code is Get the Ring. And if you do it, like, you got to do it right away. Don't wait. So you can get your free stuff. You can get your badge that says, hey, guys, you will be the only few hundred or whatever, thousand, hopefully, people that we got out there in Packer Nation that knew about this before it happened. So that's the only thing I can give you, I guess, right now. You can be a winner even when the team doesn't, because every time you play the game, you're earning loyalty reward points, just like you do like frequent flyer miles, and you're going to be able to redeem them for some really cool stuff and have a lot of fun with the Packers, even if they lose. Is that a second team for me? I'm not sure. Oh, the Bucks? Yeah, that might be. Yeah. I mean, well, I'm a Wisconsin kid. You can take the kid out of Wisconsin, but you can't take Wisconsin out of the kid. I'm a Wisconsin kid through and through. Always will be. Just a country boy. You know, I've had a chance to, to get my education here for free, which was great. Master's degree. I've had a chance to travel. I've had a chance to do a lot of things. But I tell you what, I'll take the salt of the earth people up in Wisconsin, and I know exactly. I know a lot of people from a lot of different countries, and you guys are big smack talkers too. Donald, are you? I don't even know if, honestly, I'm not sure if you're from Wisconsin or not, but he's like, you just better mail me the ring now. Guys, get on. It's going to be I can't wait. It's going to be a blast. And the question was asked, a couple things. The question was asked, do I make money on this? You will help me out. This is like a microtransaction kind of a thing, but we are licensed to do it. So, we pay monthly to be able to offer it. And hopefully there is a reward for us in that. But again, I'm just a single dad with 3 kids trying to pay the bills, pay the mortgage. But yes, the answer is yes, you can help me by that. However, you can, if you don't want to, you can interact with ads, and you can even play this game entirely for free if you want. But you also, just like any other game, and this is new to me too, is, you can go in, you can buy a pack of tokens or whatever you want to do. Yes, it does help me out, hopefully. However, I will say this, and this is genuine truth. This ring and our fee, and then the materials we've got, it will take a while. We're not getting in this game expecting that we're going to be in the black. Well, maybe we will, but it will take at least $1,500 for us just to be in the black. So whatever. We're hoping that down the road, and as we think this could be, it could really help us out. So yes, you are helping me out, and I definitely want to mention that, because I truly and genuinely, my brother and I were just a couple Wisconsin boys. We just love the Packers, and I love the Bucks. Even though they're not a huge winning team, I love to watch them. I love watching the Brewers. However, I did root, as you know, I rooted for the Cubbies, because my family used to jump the train, be railbirds, long time ago, my grandpa. So I was very happy to see that the way it went down too. All right. Okay, Wyega. All right. And Donald, I'm from Wisconsin, because I know how to pronounce the name of your town. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. Again, firefan.com, get the ring, give yourself a chance. And frankly, if you don't like it, it's a free download. You don't have to pay anything to download it. You get your 12 tokens. You can play it for free. If you don't have fun, if it's not fun for you, I don't want to twist anybody's arm. I think it's going to be a blast, and you guys get a chance because if you're in my league, the trophy is the ring. Which reminds me of one last thing I cannot leave before. Yes, Tim, basketball is next very soon, if that's what you're asking, very soon. In fact, they're already working on it, I believe. What was I going to mention? Oh, shoot. Oh, yeah. I've got to put up, I forgot all last week to put up the form for you guys to name the league. So I will do that as soon as I can, probably tomorrow. But we'll get that done for you and we'll get it finished up. So hopefully it adds a little something to your holiday season. And I think we might kick off with a triple header with all the games that we've got playing on Turkey Day. And then the fact that, the Packers don't play till Monday, maybe we'll just kick it off with a triple header and let you guys go crazy. So yeah, like Gary Iverson says, get the ring. We'll talk to you later, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.